Hey, this is Brian. Thanks for watching Keys. In today's video, I'm going to bring you along as I install an AKRAPOVIC titanium exhaust on my personal 992 911. In today's video, I'm going to show you not only how to install it, but I'm going to show you what it sounds like with just the axle back portion installed. As you guys already know, AKRAPOVIC is the best of the best when it comes to these titanium exhausts. And not only do they sound incredible, but they are crazy light as well. So once I get my old muffler off, we're going to weigh it so you can see what the weight savings is as well. But we're not stopping there. And that's because while we're at it, we're also going to be installing AKRAPOVIC's link pipes for maximum power and sound and their titanium tips. So with that, let's get the car up in the air and get started. Now, as you can see, we are going to be using a lift for today's process. It is totally unnecessary, but to give you the best camera angles, it's easier for us to have the car about 6 feet in the air. If I was doing this in my garage, which I also have done, if you use something like tall race rams or a jack stand, you should have plenty of space to do the job. The second thing I want to let you know about is this exhaust is specifically designed for cars that have the sport exhaust from the factory. The way that you can tell is if you take a look at the tips and they are oval, this is going to be a direct replacement for your car. If you do not have this setup, it is possible to buy this piece of plastic. Porsche calls it a lower cover, and we have a part number for you listed down in the description if you're curious about what you need to change out that part to make this exhaust fit your car. Now, to remove the muffler, you actually have to start on the sides by removing the link pipes. Otherwise, they get in the way when you go to drop the muffler down. One thing I do want to let you know is we are going to be doing this the easy way. You can remove the entire bumper if you would like to. All it's going to do is add a lot more time to your installation. It does not benefit you really in any way. So today we're going to bypass that completely. Now, as I stated earlier in the video, I want to show you what it sounds like with just the center section installed, because I know that that is the most popular offering. Then what we're going to do, once you hear what that sounds like, we're going to go back and we're going to further swap out the link pipes for the full effect. Now, the first tool you're going to need is a basic O2 sensor removal tool. These are typically 22 millimeters and they are available at basically any auto parts store. What you're going to do is you're going to take this and you are going to slide the O2 sensor wire through the slot right here, and then you're going to slide it down and we're going to loosen the O2 sensor. Now, using the AKRAPOVIC link pipe as a demonstration piece, you can see that the O2 sensor is located right on top of the link pipe, and it's the exact same placement on the other side of the vehicle. Then what you can do is carefully loosen it. I typically just break it free. Then I remove my ratchet and also the socket, and I'm going to twist it out by hand. Now, up top, there is a little bracket and you can pop the wire out. And then what you can do is just very carefully twist your O2 sensor just enough to where you can pull it out, and then we're just gonna let it hang. Okay, just like that. Then I'm going to carefully untwist it and just let it hang. Next, what we're going to do is we are going to remove the 13 millimeter nuts on this clamp over here. Carefully remove these. Okay. Then once you have that loose, just take the clamp and slide it over. Now, when it comes to these clamps, as you can see, these are quite rusty, so we did purchase a new one from Porsche just so that we can replace it with a brand new piece, especially on our brand new exhaust. Next, to remove the clamp that holds the link pipe onto the turbo, you're going to need a 6 millimeter Allen. Now, as you can see, mine is going to be facing down, and that's because I've had this exhaust off the car several times. From the factory, typically Porsche likes to put this facing up. So just take your wrench from the top and you just basically have to remove it upwards if your exhaust has not been off before. But since mine has, we're just going to pull this out fully. Okay, just like that. Then to release the clamp, what we're going to do is just take a flathead and just pop it in like that. You can see on the clamp it has these little hooks. Pull it out, just swing it out of the way, then just use your hand to just free that just like that. Last, all we have are these two E12s, and once you remove these, this will fall down, so make sure that you're holding on to it. It is pretty light, so I wouldn't be terribly concerned. So just take your E12 on there. Okay, remove that, and we'll remove the other one. Then the easiest way to do this is if you just take this little bracket, rotate it out of the way, kind of rock it down, then you can pull it straight off like that. Then you're going to do the exact same thing on the other side of the car. All right, now that the link pipes are out of the way, we can work on the muffler. The first thing we need to do is disconnect the two connections. There's one on the driver's side and passenger side. We're showing you the driver's side first because there's a little bit better camera angle. But basically, there's this little plug that goes into your valve actuator, and it has this little gray tab. You start by just pulling this out like that, then you press down on this little gray tab. It's going to release the lock and it's going to slide off just like that. So once again, you basically take this little gray lock, you pull it up to unlock it, and then you press it down to remove it. So now that we've done this side, let's do the same thing on the other side. All right, on the passenger side, as you can see, it's just a little bit tighter to get to. So we recommend going in from behind here with a pick tool. So simply unlock the little gray tab, and you can just press down and slide everything off. Typically, you can do the entire thing with a pick tool, but if you have small hands, you can always just reach up and do it as well. Next, using your 6mm Allen again, you're going to release these two clamps. Now, when you release these two clamps, this will be loose, so it's a really good idea to have a second person or maybe some kind of jack stand under it. Okay, so what you can do with these is you can just get them nice and loose, and then as long as everything is properly assembled, if you take a look up here, you can actually push the bolt forward and then pull the clamp down, and then it's going to release the muffler that way. If you'd prefer, you can fully remove this bolt, but it does come in handy, especially when you just want to swing it up here and just have it act as a secondary support. Okay, so then we'll remove the other one. Okay, so that's loose. This one's loose. And right now, there is nothing holding the muffler on. Now, what I recommend doing with these straps is if you just take them and just bend them back, we will not be reusing them. By bending them back, that's going to prevent them from snapping back once we remove the actual muffler itself. Now, to remove the muffler, what you're going to do is grab it from each side and you're going to rotate it down so that the part that's facing the front of the vehicle is going to rotate downwards. Then you're going to navigate it away from the vehicle. Just like that. Then you can take your clamps, just slide them out. There's the one, and then do the same with the other. All right, so with that, all of the exhaust is totally removed. And while we're here, I'm going to remove the factory tips that are mounted to the bumper. There are 3 T30s that hold it in. There's one down here, one over here, and then one up top there. So let's start with the up top one, since that's the most difficult to see. So basically, this is your general positioning. Okay, that's what your screw looks like. And we can remove the lower ones as well. Okay, then once you've done that, you just take the tip and it slides right out. All right, so once you're done on the one side, you can move over to the other. All right, so with everything removed, you can see this giant cavity of space. And if you have a keen eye, when I was unplugging my valve actuator, you may have noticed that I have a couple other cables here. And that's because if you followed our channel for any length of time, you'll know that we run a KIES valve controller on the car. As many of you probably already know, from the factory, Porsche limits that valve in your exhaust. And even when you put it in sport mode and it's open, it's only open maybe 30% or so. And as you climb the RPM range, your valve angle opens as well. However, with the KIES valve controller, you can open it up all the way for maximum sound, even at a dead standstill. Now, since we have this already installed on the car, later in the video, I'll demo it for you so you can hear the difference for yourself. Now, before we get started with installing our new exhaust, let's throw the old one and the new one on the scale to see what the weight difference is. All right, the scale is taired. Let's see what this behemoth weighs. 27.62 pounds. I can tell you that is significantly more than what we're about to see. Now, for fairness, we're going to swap over the valve actuators to the new exhaust so that we have an accurate weight. So with a T30, let's remove the 3 bolts on each side that hold these on. And this just pulls off just like that. And there's a little spring inside that you remove as well. All right, so to install the valve actuator, you're gonna get your little spring that looks like this. And if you look over here, there's a little groove. This is going to sit just like that. And then if you look at the valve actuator, it has these little openings. There's an opening here and an opening here. It's gonna slide on here and it's going to slide on here. Sometimes it'll be twisted. So if you go to put it in and it doesn't line up, just reorient it and you can get this. slide it down, and then you can reinstall your bolts. All right, so once you've done that, we're going to torque these down to 9.8 Newton meters. Then you can do the exact same thing on the other side. All right, the valve actuators are fully installed. Moment of truth, let's see what we're at. Check that out, 11.28 pounds. This thing is less than half the weight of my factory muffler. And not only is it going to save me some weight, it looks better and it's going to sound incredible too. So with that, let's put the tips on and then we'll install it. All right, when it comes to the tips, as you can see, these are titanium as well in that classic titanium color from AKRAPOVIC. If you take a look at the bottom, the last digit over here, it's going to say either an L or an R. So you can see this is going to be the left-hand side. Remember, when you're behind the vehicle, left hand, right hand. If you're in the US, you drive on the left-hand side of the car. So with that, let's carefully lift this up and put it into position. And the fitment on these is so good, it just falls right into place. Then I'm going to carefully start to thread the screws in. You wanna keep it loose though, because we still have to position everything. All right, now from the outside of the car, as you can see, the tip is actually touching the plastic over here. So we need to just shift this over. So basically what you're going to do now is you're going to go back and forth from inside to outside, and you just want to get everything positioned properly so that you have an even gap all the way around. All right, perfect. So this is exactly what it should look like. Now that we're done this side, let's move over to the passenger side. Okay, we'll do the same thing over here. I think I got it first try. That's pretty good. All right, and then once you have everything where you like it, you can start to tighten it down. All right, so next what we're going to do is we are going to install the center section. Now what you want to do is you want to take the clamps and you want to start, make sure that AKRAPOVIC is in the correct orientation so that you know that your exhaust is right side up. And then on the back, what you're going to do is you're going to take your clamps and it's going to feed over just like that. We're going to get everything prepped on this side. If you have any question on which end is up, if you take a look, this side over here is threaded. That is always going to be up. So just carefully stretch this over here. There's going to be these two little metal tabs, and that's going to be in the dead center. So then you can take this and we're going to install it in the reverse order that it was removed. And if you remember, we twisted it down when we removed it. So now you're going to feed it with the tips up and you're going to twist it up. Okay, just like that. Then take your clamp and you're going to just carefully slide it over, just like that. Then same thing on the other side. Take your clamp, slip it over. Then you can take your bolt, carefully feed this through, and then you can carefully thread this into the other end of the clamp. The hard part is really just getting that first thread to catch. After that, it's all downhill from there. Then we can do the exact same thing on the other side. Now, at this point, we are going to leave this very loose because we have some fine tuning we're going to need to do once we put the link pipes on. But from here, what you can do is just reach up and we're going to plug back in our valve actuators. Now, when you plug them in, you're going to take the OEM plug, if this is what you're installing, and you're going to click it in, and then you're going to click in this little gray tab. Now, if you're installing it with a KIES valve controller, you're going to take the factory connection. This is going to get clipped into our harness, and then you're going to take the other end of our Y cable and plug this into your valve actuator. All right, plugged in. Then we can do the exact same thing on the other side of the car. All right, cool. All right, so now with the center section loosely installed, what we're going to do is we are going to reinstall our factory link pipes. As we said earlier, we want to show you two different versions on how this sounds. A, with your factory link pipes, and also with AKRAPOVIC's high flow link pipes. Now for this process, whether you're installing your factory units back or the AKRAPOVIC link pipes, the torque specs and the installation process is exactly the same. So I'm going to show you how to torque everything down on this one, and then we'll fly through the installation when we reinstall the AKRAPOVIC link pipes. So with that, let's throw them on. All right, so what we're going to do now, as you can see, I got some brand new clamps from Porsche. I'm going to start by sliding this on over here. Then I'm going to take this clamp for the link pipe and just loosely hang it on here. Again, when I install these, I like to have the bolt from the bottom. In case I need to ever get to this bolt again, it's a lot easier to access from the bottom. So we're going to simply put this on here, then make sure that your clamp goes over the turbo as well. And if you take a look at the clamp, it has these two little locks that help you hold it in place. So just carefully click it up and it should stay in place just like this. Then as you carefully spin it in place, you're gonna be able to tell if this is aligned properly or if you need to move it over a little bit, which is what I need to do. Okay, just like that. You can spin this over and loosely install your bolts over here. Then I'm going to do this exact same thing on the other side before we start to really bolt it down. All right, so now what we need to do is we need to go down to 14 Newton meters, and we're going to start off by torquing down these 6mm bolts that are holding the exhaust center section to the bracket on the car. Then with that same 6mm, you can start to snug up this bolt over here on your link pipe clamp, and this is going to get torqued down to 22 Newton meters. Okay, then you can do the exact same thing on the other side. Then you can take an E12 and snug these up. And again, these are going to get torqued down to 22 Newton meters. And the same thing on the other side. All right, then last, again, the torque is going to be 22 Newton meters for these clamps that hold the link pipe to the center section exhaust. Just line it up in the middle. If you take a look on the factory unit, you're going to have this little dimple. Basically what you do is you just slide that dimple over there, and that's going to pretty much get you lined up. So with that, let's tighten it down and then torque it down to 22 Newton meters. All right, now with your O2 sensor, you're going to carefully twist the wire like you're removing it. And this is going to be so that when we actually install it, there's going to be no twist in the wire. Again, we have it disconnected from the little holder above so that it's not going to damage the cable or anything. So just navigate this over here. Then using a 22mm O2 sensor socket, or even if you just have a 22mm crescent wrench, we're going to snug the O2 sensor up. Then once you've done that, there is a little piece of rubber that goes back into a little clip up here, a little hard to show. But once you're done this side, we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side of the car. All right now the center section is fully installed with these tips. As you can see, everything looks absolutely incredible. Now I will say that a lot of times with these exhausts, they take 1,000 miles to properly break in. But let's start the car, get it fully warmed up, and give it some revs so you can initially hear how good this exhaust sounds. All right, so off camera, we let the car come fully up to operating temperature. Now I do want to let you know the car does have a stage 1 tune on it. That's not necessarily going to impact how the car sounds tone-wise or whatnot, but it is going to enable us to put the car in neutral and rev past that traditional 3,500 RPM soft limiter. So with that, let me jump in the car and give it some nice full rev so you can appreciate how good it sounds, and we're going to indicate which mode we're on the bottom of your screen. And as you just heard already, this car is sounding absolutely incredible, even with the factory link pipes. But let's take it up a notch by installing AKRAPOVIC's link pipes to maximize the full potential of their exhaust system. All right, as you can see, everything is fully installed and torqued down. Let's put the car on the ground, we'll take it outside, and we'll let you hear how good this exhaust sounds. Now, I do want to give you one small disclaimer. By installing the link pipes, it is possible that you could receive a check engine light, even though they do have catalytic converters. So with that out of the way, let's take it outside and give it a listen. As you've now just seen and heard, not only does this AKRAPOVIC titanium exhaust with link pipes look amazing, but it sounds absolutely out of this world, especially when paired on a 992 911. And as you'll see in the video linked for you down in the description below, it also adds power as we showed you on our in-house dyno. If you're interested in AKRAPOVIC products for your cars, whether it's a 992, a BMW, or other makes and models, reach out to my team at info@kies.com and we can help point you in the right direction. Once again, my name is Brian. Thanks for watching Kies. If you like our videos, give us a thumbs up, make sure to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.